Hi everyone, welcome to my Solutions Hour. We're officially starting. Today is January 7th, 2017, and it's been an interesting start to an interesting year, hasn't it? So I got lots and lots to tell you, tons. I hope I can get through all of this. And so for the first half hour, we're going to record this and then take notes. And then I'll post it up on the VIP section of my website, so you can go back and reread it. But this is really kind of important if you are a Cancer or a Capricorn or an Aries or a Libra today. It's a really profound time. So, for example, I am none of that, but my moon is in Libra. So wherever your moon is or your rising sign, or if you have Mars or Venus or a prominent planet in Libra or Capricorn, Aries, and also Sagittarius. So that does affect Sagittarius. So we're going to talk about this. I'm going to roll through the transits really quickly, and then I'm going to talk about if you're born 5 days before or 5 days after, or exactly on January 8th, December 16th, April 10th, or October 17th. So 5 days before or 5 days after, you have major megawatt transits happening. Now, even if your birthday doesn't fall on that day, if you know somebody and you're close to them, it's kind of important what's going on with them right now, because it can be really challenging. So let me just dive right into tomorrow. Mercury goes direct. Thank God and hallelujah. It is a time when I don't know if you guys have been experiencing this, but technical difficulties, communication, ex-loves, if you will, inside Mercury in retrograde tend to return. And it's a time when things are just wobbly. So tomorrow Mercury goes direct. And I'm just so grateful for it. I want to show you the chart really quickly. Hold on. Here we go. I want to show you the chart. So that's not the chart. That's January 27th. Here's the chart. So isn't this interesting? You can see we have the sun right here, and Pluto, the planet of death, destruction, and transformation, really deep, profound transformation. Now, this transformation never comes lightly. It is so intense. It's like stripping away the core in order to develop a new identity. And that's our world today. It's exact. And here is Mercury in Sag, and it's going to go direct. See how it's in retrograde right there? It's going to go direct tomorrow. So then we have this glorious Taurus moon. So I wanted to show you that chart, and we might come back to it. And what I'm going to do right now is tell you that it's a good time to really put your plans into action, because Mercury is going direct, and up until now it's just been a wobbly start, and we actually aren't even going to launch or take off in this new year until the end of the month, because we've got some really, stressed challenges and transits. So the next major aspect is the full moon, and that's going to happen on January 12th, and it's in Cancer. But because I showed you that the sun and Pluto are connected, we call that conjunct. Both of those planets sit in opposition to the moon, and so that's what makes it a full moon. But it's a little bit more challenged because Pluto's there. So not only do we have a sun opposing the moon, we also have Pluto opposing the moon. And so it makes it a little bit challenging emotionally. It's an emotional time for people, deeply emotional. And then it's in something else. It's in a square, if you will, to Uranus and Jupiter. And so this is kind of a stress point, and it's people's hearts. So right now, with this full moon, we're really feeling like we're losing something, truthfully. And that's because of that Pluto opposition. But I think we have to lose the game, if you will, to win the war. Or we have to lose a little bit in order to be to develop new perspective and to really learn and understand what we want. So it's through loss that we gain power. And there's a couple things happening with this full moon on the 12th. And it's longer than the 12th. It's really starting even right now. And it's about a 2 to 4 week. It has a 2 to 4 week effect. So we want this liberation and we want this change. And that comes from Uranus and its position in the chart right now. But we also want the truth. And I think because we've gotten so far from the truth that we're going to start demanding it. And that's Jupiter. And then we also are going to deeply, deeply transform the way we seek money, the way we experience power, and the way we deal with dogma. And it's all very emotional and kind of overwhelming, emotionally overwhelming with these transits. You know, also with this transit, there might be a very big and bold emotional ending on a personal level for you, especially if you are a Capricorn or a Cancer or an Aries or a Libra, because you're sitting at one of those 4 points in the cross. Those are all oppositions, that Libra and Aries, and then that Cancer and that Capricorn. And so it doesn't necessarily mean that this is a horrible ending, but it might be emotional. It might be uncomfortable. But it's because life is changing course for you personally. If you're a Cancer, Capricorn, Aries, or Libra, mostly Capricorn and Cancer under this full moon. But life is changing course, personally and collectively. And it's just uncomfortable. And so if you feel a little uncomfortable or melancholy or sad, it's okay, because that's what it's supposed to feel like. But what's going to happen after you feel sad or emotionally overwhelmed is you're going to see that you can't really afford to be compliant. You're going to see that you have to really fight for what it is that you sincerely and deeply want. So this isn't going to destroy you or flatten you for long, because you'll see the fight is right behind it, or the grit, or the will. Now, Pluto on the Sun, it can go 2 ways. It can mean big money, big power. I think when Leonardo DiCaprio had Pluto transiting his Sun, sitting right on his Sun, which is what we have today collectively, that's when he had his first big movie, and he literally rose to stratospheric heights and fame. So he stepped into his power and his money, and later he became an advocate and worked in advocacy, as we know. But he really developed his platform when that happened. So it doesn't always mean that it is traumatic, but it is usually hard. And I bet you that was a little bit hard for him. I bet you that shocked him. So I don't want you to be afraid of it with that Pluto-Sun conjunction opposing the moon. I don't want you to be afraid, but I do want you to be cautious and careful and gentle and calculated and a little bit shrewd with yourself. It's a time when you're supposed to recognize your own power too. And then Friday the 13th, I love this day, and not because it's Friday the 13th, I love it astrologically. So we have that full moon on the 12th, and it kind of sticks around, again, for 2 weeks, but it's still there on the 13th. But on Friday the 13th, this is the day that I have my dog scheduled for surgery, because it's such a good day. It's Venus is conjunct Neptune in just this sweet, exalted sign of Pisces. Neptune and Venus absolutely love, love, love being in Pisces. It literally means exalted love. So the thing right now with that full moon aspect, and then with Venus conjunct Neptune, don't settle inside of love. Don't just settle. Reach for more, or maximize what you've already got. It's expansive love, universal love. So on the 13th, reach out to somebody who is in need, and including yourself. It's a day when love can find you too. So you might benefit tremendously on Friday the 13th. It's a good luck day. Not all Friday the 13ths are, but this one is. On the 19th, and you know what I wanted to say about that Friday the 13th? That transit actually happens really late in the day on the 12th. So it happens late in the day on the 12th, and it exists. It stays intact through the 13th. And then I wanted to say that we've got Aquarius's birthday on the 19th. And I think this is really, really interesting, because Aquarius is the great liberator, the rebel, and the revolutionary powerhouse, the humanitarian. And isn't it funny that it turns to Aquarius right there on Inauguration Day? So, I love my animals. This is Aurora. She's so sweet. Anyways, she just wants to sit on my lap. She's so cute. So Aquarius is on the 19th, and then Inauguration Day is on the 20th. And whether you support our president-elect or not, his idea is to liberate, is to, he is kind of a rebel. He is unconventional. And he's going to have an unconventional Inauguration Day too. Everything about him is unconventional, and he does think that he's creating a revolution, and maybe he is doing all that, but I just found it very interesting that it changes right there into that energy that kind of matches his talk or his mission. Not trying to be political at all, but I just wanted to point that out. And then Friday, the January 27th at 4 p.m. Pacific time, so mark your calendars appropriately for your time zone. The new moon is in Aquarius on Friday, January 27th. So Trump will be in office for a week. I'm really kind of interested to see how that day is going to go. That is a really challenging new moon. I love new moons. I like to manifest on new moons, but this one is a really tough new moon. So I want to still manifest on that day, but the energy is just not quite as soft. And it's because of where, when the moon is in Aquarius, first of all, if you guys have had a reading with me, you know that I believe that is one of the toughest moons to have, personally. And when it's in a new moon in Aquarius, it wants to be, it does not want to be emotional. It wants to be innovative and liberating, and it kind of wants freedom, and it wants to be detached. Now, it is ruled by Saturn, so you got to go look at Saturn in the chart. And Saturn is in Sag, and it's in really tough aspect to Mars. And it's in an exact square. Saturn is in an exact square to Venus in Pisces. So you have Saturn in Sag, and then you have that Venus in Pisces. Remember I talked about how incredible it was? Well, on that day, it sits in a square. And because Saturn is ruling that moon, it's tough. You feel that love is complicated. Love is got a lot more rules and regulations than what you want, and hard to access. It's like hard to squeeze the juice out of an orange. And so that day needs extra concentration and momentum and sort of will or force to be able to manifest something profound or powerful. So just be aware of that. I still want you to manifest, but it's not exactly a simple, great day that just flows easily. And I like the 28th a little bit better because Mars, the god of war, your life force energy, the sign that represents your chi and your sexuality, it enters its own sign of Aries. So while we have that Venus in Pisces, we get that Mars in Aries, and it's on fire. It is absolutely filled with ambition and guts and glory, and I mean, it is ready to just rumble. And so that can be for good or for bad. So it's the god of war, and it's in this, it's very serious business, and it's exalted in its own sign, and it's so highly capable. The god of war wants victory, and it's not going to settle for losing. So it can be a really winning aspect. But what side are you on? So you have rocket fuel on the 28th, and that's when I think this 2017 really gets kickstarted. I don't really want you to wait, but if you feel like, it's been kind of a drag already, it just hasn't really officially started yet. You know, time is man-made, and on the 1st, it doesn't always just, January 1st isn't always just the beginning. So I think January 28th is more of our beginning. I want to give you just a couple more dates because we're going to meet on February 4th. But I want to tell you that Friday, February 3rd, Venus will move into Aries. So Venus and Mars are both in Aries. Love is on fire. So this is, and it's in a happy, wide aspect to the sun. But it's in really, really tight aspect to Mars. And so this is a great date day. This is a great love day. This is love and sex wrapped up like a Twizzler. I mean, this is a yummy, yummy day, Friday the 3rd. So remember Friday the 13th in January, and then Friday, February 3rd. These are really great days. And those are big, passionate days. And then we're going to meet on the 4th, but I want you to prepare for the 5th. Because I like February 5th because it's Gemini moon. And so you've got the sun in Aquarius with the Gemini moon, besties, and then you have Mars and Venus in Aries. So it's an absolutely extraordinary day, and that's February 5th, that's Sunday. So the one thing I want to say is, remember that it's through our challenges that we receive our greatest rewards. It's through our challenges that we receive our greatest rewards because we develop ourselves. We develop our character, our grit, our tenacity, our fortitude. This is when we find out who we are. So welcome in these challenges. And if you know that they're coming, you get to drive them, steer them, and direct them a lot of times. So I want to say one other thing. Jupiter is in Libra. And it's going to be there until about October 10th of this year. And while Jupiter, and then it's going to go into Scorpio, and we're going to talk about that. I like it in Libra. I like it in Libra a whole lot. But right now we're seeing a cry for, with Jupiter in Libra, we're seeing a cry for etiquette and graciousness and peacefulness and tact and fairness and social justice, because that's what Libra stands for. And we want, I think collectively, we want to see that people can in fact get along. And we're going to see until about October these deep, deep cries for unity. And I think that the world is going to want to come together. Whether we can or can't, that's a different conversation. But you're going to see that that's the desire of so many people, of the collective. And that's also kind of going to be what you'll probably focus on personally in your life too. How to get along, how to create unity. Are you fighting for social justice in your own pocket or community? We're going to become a little bit frustrated or fed up with selfishness. And when Jupiter is in Libra, we kind of give up the attitude of what's in it for me. And we move away from personal, selfish agendas. And we move more towards the consideration of others. And we also pay really big or good or wise attention to our relationships. And so that's going to be in play until October, and then it goes into Scorpio. Now let me just talk really quickly about this Cancer Capricorn thing. So if you were born on January 8th, or you know anybody who was born on January 8th, 5 days before or 5 days after, that Pluto is sitting on your soul. That's what I was talking about with Leonardo DiCaprio. And this, okay, I gotta say something else. Wherever Capricorn is in your chart, if it's your rising sign or your moon sign, this Pluto is sitting on that planet. Or if it's on your rising sign, it's sitting at your front door. And your front door is yourself, your body. So it's kind of important, and I think what we should do, if you don't know where your planets are, you should know where your planets are, so when we do these phone calls and then you can go back and listen, you can kind of know where this astrological metaphoric asteroid is going to hit. And because then you can really do something powerful with the energy. I have to take a sip. I need another one. I didn't have time to get my coffee before this. Anyways, so let me just try to show you this again. Hold on, 1 second. Okay, so I'm hoping you can see the screen. See this Pluto? So if you were born on January 8th, this Pluto is going to sit on your sun. This is the rising sign. Right here. See how it's Cancer? So if your sun is here in Cancer on July 8th, or 5 days before or 5 days after, you're getting an opposition to that. See, you would have a sun opposing sun and sun opposing Pluto if you were a Cancer. So I just wanted to kind of give you that visual and let you visualize what I'm talking about. So what I want to say is Pluto transits create an absolutely enormous major life change and experience. The sun is the life force energy, and so the power and the whole identity of that sun wants to be changed. So your life direction and even an aspect of your soul wants to grow, wants to become more powerful. But how it does that is it strips things to the bare bone. And through the stripping away process, Pluto can facilitate the soul's evolution. So it's no small thing. There might be an event where you lose something, where it's stripped away. There might be something in your life where there's separation. But those things probably are standing in the way of your truer self or your higher self. And it can be a time of developing great personal power, greater than you can even know. So think about yourself right now in your most powerful position. Now that's great, that's wonderful. I got my image of myself in my most powerful position. Now go 50 times bigger than that. and that's where Pluto will take you. So if you're a Capricorn or a Cancer, you are experiencing this. And it's just right now that January 8th, 5 days prior, 5 days after, is getting it exact. But if you are a Capricorn and you're born, say, January 18th, it's coming up. It is coming up. If you were born December 25th, it's already happened. And you might be feeling the effects still. Now for Cancer in the opposition, I think it's a little bit, I don't know if I want to say harder when it's in opposition, but it's harder to see or understand. You're going to see with the Sun opposing the Sun and Pluto that I think the divine energy is asking you to take more power, you know, to try to harness power, almost asking you to be ruthless in trying to achieve your personal goals. I think confrontation and power struggles will probably find you, but that's to grow you. You're learning, if you're a Cancer, how to wield your own power within your relationships and how to find the balance between standing up for yourself and not imposing your own power over another. So finding the happy medium is going to be really important. And you might kind of swing, because whenever we're having an opposition, we're not quite balanced. We might feel a little bit like we're too extreme in one way or another. So Cancers will probably find that they're really being asked to harness or intensify their ego strength, truthfully, their soul strength, their ego strength. And it can be, it can feel so uncomfortable, but know that good things want to develop because of it. Now let's move on to Aries. Now, if you're born on April 10th, 5 days before or 5 days after, Uranus is sitting right smack on your soul. Boom. And it's a time that your soul wants to be free and liberated. It's a time when new opportunities want to find you. It's a time to literally get out of your rut, to harness your independence and your individuation, to become separate from the crowd. This is a time also, though, when unwelcomed or surprising changes can just be like a lightning bolt and strike you. So this transit will create self-awareness. Uranus is very innovative and highly creative. And this is a time when the divine power, if you will, is going to support you in reinventing or even innovating yourself. What do you want to be? What crazy, quirky idea do you have as an Aries? Well, go do it. Liberate yourself from all the rules and all the responsibilities that have bogged you down for so long. Now, for Libra, it's in opposition, right? So Libra is interesting because Libra, if you're born October 10th, 5 days before or 5 days after, it's sitting in opposition, so it wants that liberation, but because it's in opposition, it's very difficult to have. But what's beautiful right now about Libra is they've got Jupiter sitting on their soul. So it's beautiful. So, and if you have a Libra moon, this is going to affect your emotions. If you're Libra rising, this is going to affect your body or yourself. If you have a Libra sun sign, this is going to affect your soul, your drive, your life force, your life's path. So wherever Libra is in your chart, you've got this opposition to Uranus, and you have this Jupiter sitting on your soul. Jupiter is good luck, fortune, and abundance. It's expansive. and it makes life kind of feel inspiring, optimistic, fun, playful. It's also your higher self. So there's this expansive quality with Jupiter helping Libra out right now, but it's in opposition to Uranus. So it's like it can feel like rapid or unexpected changes, unpredictable changes are happening, so it keeps you on edge, and there might be high anxiety about changing circumstances, like now you see it, now you don't. So it doesn't only represent change, but it does represent freedom. And so you, with that Jupiter there, you might want this abundance, but you don't want to be pinned down to it. You, stability and security might not be the main attraction right now. What's very interesting is that your soul wants to be liberated, but it might feel like it can't be. And there's some pain in that. There's some pain in, I want more, but I don't know how to get it. And so it doesn't have to stay that way. As long as, I feel like, as long as you know about the transit and kind of what's happening, it can help you steer through it, like moguls on a ski slope. And so I just want you to know, if you're a Libra and you're feeling this sort of drive or energy to express your individuality, to be innovative, to reinvent, to want to be free of, that's what you're supposed to feel. But and having anxiety that comes with that, that's what you're supposed to feel. With Jupiter, let's talk about this really quickly. With Jupiter sitting on Libra's soul, it's also in opposition to Aries, right? So if you're born around October 17th, 5 days before or 5 days after, you've got this Jupiter on your soul, which is just, it wants to experience all that it can in life. It wants to travel. It wants adventure. And it brings positivity and good feelings to your life and good luck. Now, if you're an Aries, it's in opposition. So you probably feel like you can't get enough. You want more, more, more. And you're being asked as an Aries to kind of shed the gluttony. It's a deep spiritual awakening, I think, for Aries, because there's a lot of personal growth, and there's wanting to find your higher self, or the higher expression of yourself. And so that Uranus-Jupiter aspect between Aries and Libra is really fascinating, because it's the great awakener with Uranus, and then it's abundance with Jupiter. So it can produce absolutely brilliant ideas right now. A brilliant, innovative life path can open up for you. Now, Sagittarius has been going through a little bit of a harder time. So Sagittarius and Gemini. So December 16th or June 16th, right? 5 days before or 5 days after. Saturn is sitting on your soul, and I think this is like the Pluto. This is going to test your personal power and your strength. Saturn is going to help you materialize all your great efforts and put them into reality, but it presents you with challenges. This is a time when you really have to prove yourself. And, you know, even though you may experience success in your goals, with Saturn on your soul, if you will, or Saturn in opposition to your soul as a Gemini, you feel like there's restrictions and burdens, extra restrictions, extra burdens placed upon you, and achieving your personal advancement, if you will, is hard. So imagine a boulder sitting on you, and yet you want to run a marathon. Well, you got to run that marathon with that boulder on you. It's hard, but you're so proud of yourself when you do, and when you juggle it all, and you find a personal greatness inside. For Gemini, when Saturn opposes your sun, your soul. This is a time when you're going to strengthen your character, and you're going to have to probably face adversity or face your challenges head on. But what it builds is confidence. It can drain you, but it builds and grows confidence because you feel weighed down. You feel like, oh, that's impossible to run that marathon with a boulder. But you come to find out that you can actually do it piece by piece by piece. So Saturn feels like a test. Pluto feels like a stripping away. Uranus feels like a liberation, and Jupiter feels like abundance or expansion. So I'm going to turn the recording off. I'm going to say bye for now. I hope you liked my transits. I hope they help you, and I wish you a great, great start to 2017. I'm going to turn off the recording now, and then we're going to go into questions and tarot card readings. So hang on. I have to figure out how to stop. Oh my gosh. Hang on with me.